Hey, you're listening to Stop the Scroll, a social media marketing podcast, and I'm your host, Heidi Schmidt. I'm a social media strategist and agency owner with over 15 years of marketing experiences helping businesses grow online. We'll be diving into what you need to know so that you can show up confidently online without the overwhelm. Get your notebook ready to jot down some amazing marketing gems, and let's dive into it. Welcome back to another episode of Stop the Scroll. I am your host, Heidi Schmidt, social media strategist, and I am super excited about our guest today. I have an amazing Facebook ads consultant. Her name is Kabaale, and she is a consultant who is dedicated to helping online business coaches shine with Facebook ads. Welcome, Carol.
Thank you, Heidi. I'm so excited to be here and stopping the scroll. Get it?
I love it. So how did you get into Facebook ads? Kind of give us a little bit of your background and how you got to where you are.
So for me, I started my journey quite traditionally. I, went to high school, went to university, and then I got a corporate job. And I was pretty burnt out. It sucked, if I'm quite honest, but I loved it. I was quite happy. I was a corporate girly. And it wasn't until my fiance proposed that I really took a step into my life and I was like, is this really what I want? Do I want to keep missing holidays and Christmas and family things? Because I worked within a hospitality field. So obviously when everybody's having a great time on vacation, I'm at work because someone needs to run the hotel, So I just took a moment in that moment and I was like, no, there's got to be more. And I started exploring what parts of my current job I really enjoyed. And I worked in business development. I really knew that the marketing part of it is what I liked. So I looked a little bit into that and I did a couple of courses and I ended up becoming a Facebook ads consultant. And that's kind of how I am here today.
I love it. And I feel like so many of us can relate to that. I mean, I lost my marketing director job at the start of the pandemic, and that's how I started freelancing. I was kind of tired of working for companies who were like 10 days of PTO. Here you go. That's generous.
Right? And then every time you want to use your PTO, it's like you're bargaining with these people. Like, hi, please, can I have my own time off? Like, it's my time off.
Yep. But then, there's the challenges of being an entrepreneur in that, it never turns off. And I'm sure you experienced this with your clients, is especially in like the social media space, like literally never turns off. How do you balance running your agency while making time for your family, your personal life, and all the things? And I promise we're going to get into Facebook ads here, but you mentioned that and it was like, whew.
No, I got all the things. I think for me, it's really important, even with like running Facebook ads, it's really important to have boundaries. When I first started my agency, I can say that I had zero boundaries. I was that girl still thinking I was in my corporate job and that it was all going to go up in flames. So I had no boundaries. A client would send me a request and I was like on my phone trying to do it or on my laptop. And it became like switching one career for another one. I was now trapped in another one. And I really had to take a moment and be like, whoa, the reason we chose to start this business was because I wanted more. So how is it that now my husband is in the next room and I'm in this room? We're still living past each other. Like, this is crazy to me. So how I like to set boundaries is from the beginning, I always tell my clients what to expect. I tell them that I am in a different time zone if we're in a different time zone. I tell them the times that I am available, that it will probably take 24 hours for me to give feedback. And I give them the avenues that they can expect feedback from me, whether that's a Slack message or a voice memo on Voxer or an email, whatever they prefer. And another thing that I've done, which is scary, I'm not going to lie, it's very scary. I took all the notifications off my phone. So my phone will only ring if it's an emergency. Like if a client will Voxer me, that's the only kind of like they have my number for that. Besides that, I will actually have to go into the Facebook ads to see what's happening. Because you know this, as a social media manager, when you have all your clients' accounts linked to your phone or your profile, you're constantly dinging. It's like ding, ding, ding. It's like you're spending time with your family and you're trying to have a good time and there's a notification and it could ruin your whole day. So after I did that, I just felt so much more in control of my time. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
choosing to open my email app. That's a choice that I made. That's a boundary that I set. So that's how I kind of manage it. And the last thing I really like to do with my husband and I is we have non-negotiable days. So if we want to go vacation somewhere, we plan that out at the beginning of the year. And we say, okay, December is going to be our time. Maybe the first week or the second week, we're going to travel. It's non-negotiable. If I have a client and I bring them on in November, I let them know, by the way,
Mm-hmm.
this week, I'm not going to be there. And you can either choose to continue to work with me or we can pick up in January. The choice is yours, but it's non-negotiable. We're not moving it because it's important to us.
I love that. I love that so much. So let's kind of talk about Facebook ads. So you took your marketing experience from the hospitality industry and now you do ads for coaches. How did you decide on that? How did you decide on that niche and that specific audience? How did you get to where you are now in your agency?
So, to be honest with you, I never even knew the word coach. I think, like many people, until I started to do like the work that I'm doing. Like, I did a course, right? And in that course, I was getting a certification for my meta ads. And
Mm-hmm.
in that course, I remember going through the motions and things, and I was like, okay, cool, but I need someone to teach me how to do business, right? And this is the first time this
Mm-hmm.
idea of a coach was introduced to me. Someone who could help me set up a business, hold my hand, guide me through it, kind of vibes. And I was like, I'm not gonna lie to you, I was skeptical because I've never heard of this. I just thought like this person's gonna take all my money and run away. But I had the most positive experience with this lady. She was wonderful. We were like really similar age, and she was building her business and I was building my business. And it just felt like there was sisterhood, but also a lot of real world guidance because she had a lot of success early on. So in that, I was like, I want to work with more people like you. And back then, when I started my first agency, because this is agency number 3, if I'm quite honest, my first agency was just when lockdown hit, right? It was
Mm-hmm.
when the world went into COVID. And a lot of people, how I used to find clients or how I used to network was Facebook groups. And you could see a
Mm-hmm.
lot of coaches, consultants, people being online in those communities. And that's how I got into that audience. And I love that audience. I love coaches who have a deeper purpose because I really like to amplify the good that they're doing in the world. Do you know what I mean? It's beyond
Yeah.
the money element of it for me. Like I'm there to serve with them.
I love that. And so, how do you kind of coach your coaches to use Facebook ads to grow their business, to attract those high ticket clients? Because I've worked with a number of business coaches also. Like, I've worked with
Yeah.
a couple of coaches who really helped me make the leap from freelancer to agency. I have a current business coach who's really kind of helped me dive into my systems, leadership, all that fun stuff. So how do you really help them use Facebook ads? Especially like if they don't have a big budget, if they've never used them before, like what's your process?
So first of all, there's a little bit of a criteria to anybody listening if you're thinking of running ads. Before you run ads, you can't just go and press that beautiful big blue boost button that you see on Instagram or Facebook. That's like, ooh, that unfortunately is not running ads. That's like playing the nickel machine at the casino. It's fun, but you're not going to win anything. You know what I mean? It's fun, but it's not that detailed. And the
Oh my
fun
God,
thing
I
is that
love
we get
that.
so excited. You just put in your $5 and it tells you were in front of 1 million people. Wow, how exciting. But what was the strategic element behind it, right? Like, what did you really get tangible out of it? So, most times when coaches come to me, it's because they already have a tried and tested offer, or they have an offer they've tested organically, it's worked really well, and they just need more people to go through the funnel, right? They need more traffic.
Hmm.
I always say to them, it doesn't really matter. The traffic could be Facebook ads, it could be Pinterest, it could be YouTube, but you need to have a really good offer, something that you know, if I put this in front of the right person, they're going to buy it. And I, as a coach, can stand behind the results that they're going to get from going through my program, from doing the coaching with me, right? Because that's also very important to me. I don't just want people to buy and be like, this was a terrible experience. We need good reviews. So
Yeah.
First thing is definitely having a tried and tested offer. The second thing is being clear on what is your objective. I like to push my clients into creating an automated marketing system. And what that just basically means is let's get more than impressions. Let's get more than views. Let's get more than likes. Let's get an email, right? Let's get a phone number. Let's get details from our leads. Why? Because playing on a borrowed sandpit, this is not your playground. Mark Zuckerberg can out at any moment in time. Nothing is promised, right? I myself, unfortunately, lost my personal Facebook about a year ago. I was hacked and I have all the security tools.
Yeah, I definitely got hacked. When was it? It must have been 2 years ago, and I was out of my Facebook page for like 6 weeks. It was terrible, absolutely
Right?
terrible. And yeah, I say all the time that social media is rented space. What are the other avenues that you're generating leads, that you're building your audience? Because Instagram, it's like every time Instagram shuts down for like 8 hours, like how are you marketing your business?
Exactly. And everything, you're also playing in rented space that's constantly changing. So once you think you've beat the algorithm, oh, they changed the game on you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I love to say is let's create a system where we get something tangible, such as an email. And then through that email, we can nurture and warm up those leads till they are ready to buy, right? But I want to go
Mm-hmm.
a step further on that. Most coaches already have so many assets. They have an ebook, they have a meditation, they have a checklist. Coaches like to create things. I don't know if you know those, but they love to create things. Like there's always something. They're always creating something. They just love to come. Carol, do you know what I created? I got a download. I'm like, good for you, girl. What did you create? They love creating, and that's their gift. They're here to serve and give their genius and give it to the world, right? Constantly creating. Now, what I like to do is with those things, I like to take which one is the most popular. Is it a meditation, right? Is it the
Mm-hmm.
checkbook? Is it the cheat sheet? Whatever it is, let's take it and let's create a self-liquidating offer, right? That's just saying the
Mm-hmm.
people who saw the first ad, let's put a small little thing, whether it's $5, $10, $19, under 100, right? Depending on the value that you're giving. Maybe it's a mini course
Mm-hmm.
or something a little bit more tangible in there. That is going to help offset the cost of running your ads. So while we're warming them up, you are getting sales in, because I'm not gonna lie to you, I've never met an entrepreneur who didn't want a sale. Like I get on calls with people like, what do you want? I want a
Yeah.
sale. I want clients. I want that. So
Yep.
by
Everybody
adding
wants
in the
leads.
everybody wants leads, but everybody, what they truly want when they say that is, I want sales. I want money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what is great is that by having the system of introducing small little sales, it one gives them a taste of who that coach is, because unfortunately, a lot of people have been burnt by coaches, and not just coaches. I think the internet in general. Here's the thing, Heidi. We were there in COVID and we were all stuck. So we were forced to go online and try
Mm-hmm.
this program and sit through the webinar and go through the masterclass. Now we're tired. We know we're going to be sold to. So instead of buying your 10K product just up front, take my money, now we're cautious. Now we're like,
Yeah.
no, let me give you $10 and see what happens before I give you, 10, 20.
Yeah, there is something to be said about low cost offers that are like, people I think are definitely more likely to spend like $30 or like joining a membership for like $50 a month versus, spending $10,000 on a coaching package.
Exactly. So if we can get them in that, they can already start. That's their first yes. That's their first big yes, because they took out their credit card and they said a huge yes to you. Like, hey, I'm joining your membership, or hey, I'm buying your product. And from there, once they trust you, it is easier to sell that high ticket coaching program. It is easier to sell that mastermind, that retreat, that experience, because now they also have skin in the game and they can see you have skin in the game, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's sort of the funnel that we create. But what really makes me different in my approach is that I like to look at the whole thing. I don't just stop at the ads and making sure, yes, you're bringing in money. I like to look then at the next crucial steps. Are they opening emails? Are they clicking on links? Are they
Mm-hmm.
unsubscribing? Because there's no point that you paid to have this email address from someone and now they've just unsubscribed the next day. What a waste of money, right? Like, what
Mm-hmm.
are we doing? So we want them to be constantly saying yes, opening emails, clicking on things, taking the next step, attending events if that's what you're doing. And that creates a whole holistic approach, not only for when you're running ads, people who find you organically, they slot in and they start going through the same process, which is just a byproduct of running ads.
Yeah. For someone who has a smaller budget, what kind of results can they expect to see, even with like a small budget? Like, how do you measure success? Is it just by like leads generated? If there's someone early on in their ads process, do you recommend doing like brand awareness campaigns? What's kind of someone's making their entry into, they're dipping their toe into the ads pond?
I would say go have a look at your socials. Like, what has performed the best? I often say to clients, your first ad is probably already sitting in your account. And what I mean by that is whatever people have interacted with, like liked, and more like engaged with, like commented,
Mm-hmm.
or there was discussion, or maybe they've saved it because they found this is really interesting, or maybe they've shared it. Whatever that piece of content was, that's probably your first ad because people have taken time out of their day to do that action, to interact with it, right? And what you could do is you could slightly adapt that based on your goal. So I would say your first goal should always be to get something tangible. It's nice to run a brand awareness campaign, but all you're really doing is collecting, in my opinion, vanity metrics. You're collecting
Mm-hmm.
views. Wow, 1 million people saw your video. Okay, then what? But like, what came out of it? Did you get more sales? Are you now a new speaker? Are you just proud that you got 1 million views? Because I could find you some cheap bots. Like they can do it for a lot less if that's really what you want. You don't have to run ads for
Yeah.
that, you know? But if
Yep.
you want to grow your business and you want to like create an ecosystem of leads coming in, then I would say take that ad and maybe if you already have landing pages and stuff built, the next step would be to go there and capture their emails. If you don't, then you could do something simple and just say, hey, comment the word blank and I will send it to you. And you could set up like a ManyChat bot, a little conversation
Mm-hmm.
thing. Fun fact, ManyChat is actually a preferred partner of Meta. So it actually doesn't decrease your score. Like, you know how sometimes when you send people to certain pages or you use something like Linktree, we see you like all of a sudden your reach is not there. People are clicking. But ManyChats, because they're a preferred partner, it actually encourages it. That's why a lot of our algorithm is like comment the word blank or say the word blank and this will happen. And
Mm-hmm.
you can deliver that free asset or that free information, that value through that conversation without having to build an entire, landing pages and emails and all the rest of it. That would probably be the easiest way to start. And you do get something out of it. And in terms of budget, it can be really small. I just want to answer the budget question super quick because I
Yeah.
noticed I didn't answer it. The budget is very relative. It's like, how long is a thing of string, a piece of string? But what I can say with the budget is this. So if you have a $10 budget, your ad is probably going to be this small. Pretend this is a screen, like it's going to be this small, right? But if you have $100, it's probably going to be as big as that paper. Both can be seen, right? Whether it's this
Mm-hmm.
big or that big, it's going to be seen, right? Now, it's going to take longer for people to see this one versus people seeing that one. So it just means if you have a bigger budget, if you're spending $100 a day, $1,000 a day, of course you're going to get more information. Of course, more people are going to see you.
Mm-hmm.
Your billboard is huge. But if you're spending like $10 a day, $20 a day, people are still going to find you. They're just going to have to squint, but they're going to find you. And that's okay.
How do you kind of let your clients know, like, this is the ROI? We generated, is it like by number of leads generated? What are some of the key metrics that people should look at when they're measuring the success of their campaign? Because I do feel like, it's funny because I worked with this agency and they were kind of coaching their clients on, first we have to run brand awareness because we want to get them into our funnel.
Yeah.
And then we'll run engagement campaigns. And it's like, I never really saw them do lead gen campaigns, which for those of you not in the know is a objective in meta ads. So You're like blowing my mind right now. I have so many ideas. I'm like, ooh.
I know. Like, firstly, I can see their logic of running that. So there was a time, right? And I would say this is just pre like TikTok era, like just entering, like maybe a year or two ago, where videos were everything. We were like obsessed with our phones. We still are, but like we were more. We were just starting to get into it. We were leaving sort of the Facebook community and more getting used to watching reels or stories or things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So brand awareness, really what it does, it just puts you top of mind. And then I can understand why they wanted to run engagement. They were probably saying, hey, everybody who has watched this thing, now let's get them to do this action. That can be very profitable, but now you're spending your budget on two things. Why? You know what you want them to do.
Yeah, it would usually be like two different campaigns, but yeah, I mean, what to your point, like what are you getting out of this brand awareness
Yeah, what are you
campaign?
getting out of now? You have all these views, right? Like, hey, that's fantastic. In terms of KPIs, the first one I do, especially if we're doing lead gen, is cost per result. Each niche will be different, but how I determine it for my clients is I like to do a baseline test. So for the first 7 days, we run the campaign at $20 a day. And we're going to use baby numbers. These are the same numbers I use with my clients. So if you get 20 emails and you're spending $20 a day, that means it costs you $1 to get that email, right? If you only get 2 emails, that means you had to pay $10 for each of those emails, right? And with that, what we do next is we reverse engineer it and we say, okay, so what is your closing rate? Because I need to understand that. Like, if you got 10 people, if you got on a call with 10 people, how many of those would become clients? And that also helps me to say, okay, well, you're going to need a whole bunch more leads to come in before you can close them into clients. And it also gives them a realistic feel for how much they need to be spending. And that is okay. That's a conversation that I always say to clients. It's a personal decision. If you say to me, hey, Carol, I can only spend $1,000 this month, cool. If you can only spend 600, also fine. You just need to understand that that budget can only get you so much of this result. Is that okay with you? And I think by
Hmm.
looking at it that way, we don't expect the ads to be like a saving grace and be like, oh, it has to work because I put this much money in it. No, we have a quantifiable amount and we're like, we expect to get 100 new emails by the end of the month. Did we meet that goal? Yes. Are those people opening emails? Yes. Are they moving down our funnel? Yes. Have people bought our next thing, our tiny offer that we put in front of them? Some of them have. Have some of them turned into lifetime clients? Some of them have. So that's how I personally look at KPIs and that's how I
Hmm.
judge them. But don't give up. The basic thing with ads is don't give up too quickly, guys. Please don't give up too quickly. It can take a little bit of testing to find your people. And I would encourage you to at least give it a month. If your budget is really tight, if you can, most people who work with me, we work at least 3 months to really dial the whole thing in before we sort of like leave it and we're like, okay, we're comfortable. We kind of know now if we put $10 in, we're going to get 20 out kind of vibes.
What's your secret to creating? And we're going to kind of dive into the creative because I tend to always overthink creative when it comes to Facebook ads. What's your secret to creating these scroll stopping ads that actually convert people to take the action that we want them to take?
So I like to create, like, I work with amazing people. I'm not a one woman show and I don't like to take credit for it. So I have an amazing copywriter. She's on my team. She's amazing. I also have a great graphic designer. I think the first thing that's really important to remember is to have a great offer, but to have that offer positioned as the solution to what the person is looking for. Because here's the thing. Personally, for me, I don't like to lead with pain. Pain and struggle is not a word I know. It is not something I want to know. It is not something I want to do. No, ma'am. For me, I want solutions, right? So when we write, especially in our framework, we like to present whatever our client has as a solution or an add-on. So for example, I'm making it up as I go along, but it would be like, hey, are you struggling to get more clients? Download my ebook. And in 5 minutes, I will teach you one thing that will help you move the needle forward today. It's very action based. It's very
Hmm.
intentional. It tells you how much time they're going to get. And also, what I really like about it is that I like the person who, after they receive whatever value it is, they can implement, get that dopamine hit out of it. Like, that was helpful. I'm not just going to leave it there in like my spam drawer. I'm not just going to leave it in the downloads folder and never look at it again. That was helpful. What else does this lady have? That's the feeling you're chasing. And when you create, whether it's video or whether it's graphics, you want to create from that point of view. How do I get that feeling?
I love that. I love that. And on that note, like what are some of the biggest mistakes that you're seeing coaches make, whether they're like entry level in ads or they've been running their own ads for, months and months, but they're just like not getting results? Because I imagine that's what brings them to you is like, hey, why am I not seeing results here? What are some of
Yeah.
those mistakes and like how do you kind of get them out of that mindset? Because I feel like oftentimes when people don't see results from social media, they think that it just doesn't work. And it's
Mm-hmm.
usually because they're not, I'm going to say not doing it right. Usually they don't have a strategy and like, oh, I'm just posting because I should be posting, you know?
Exactly. So that's a huge one. The big blue button that we spoke about, the boost button, that's one. Oh, I tried running ads, it doesn't work. Okay, well, what did you do? Oh, I pressed the boost button and like I put like $10 to it. I tried it once and like, yeah, I ran ads, it didn't work. That's the first one I always hear. Like, that saying, fail to plan, plan to fail? That's exactly the same
Mm-hmm.
thing, especially when it comes to ads. You need to go in it with strategy in mind. What do we want to achieve? Here's a big secret about ads. And it's not even a big secret, but it's how I see it. Ads are just a giant magnifying glass. Whatever you have, it's just going to amplify it. So if you have a big giant poop emoji as your funnel, as your strategy, as your offer, as what you are selling, well, I'm sorry to say, people are just going to see the giant poop emoji. But if you have great things, if you have systems, if after they get it from you, they feel like, wow, this is amazing. This is what I needed. This person is not flapping around. This person is actually here to help me and serve and do this. Of course, they're going to keep consuming your content. Of course, they're going to move down the thing and they're going to keep you top of mind. Remember, people don't buy when you want them to buy. They buy when they feel they need a solution. So you need to
Mm-hmm.
maintain being that solution. I think another thing with ads is that people give up too quickly. It's a long game. Sometimes I think in all entrepreneurship, we like to give up and be like, not we like to give up. We like to compare ourselves to other people. And we're like, oh, how come that person is so much further away? Like, oh my gosh, how are they so successful? You know why they're successful? Because they're consistent. And it's not because their stuff is good. It's because they're consistent. So ads also just helps you to stay top of mind. You could run literally like a $5 ad that is just maybe a video of you showing up every so often in your feed. And that can help to be like, oh yeah, Carol, she's that ads girl. Okay, Heidi. Yeah, she does help with social media. Because you don't know when I'm going to be ready to be in that moment of being like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
finally, Heidi, let me go. I need to hire someone. So you have to be the number one choice always because there's so much competition. It's not that to say that you're bad at what you do. It's just you need to outlast these other people. You need to be the only choice.
Yeah, I think a lot of people discredit one, the amount of competition that there is, just like the sheer volume of content that people are creating. Like, I think I've read metrics that like reach for the average business page. I'm going to talk business pages because that's most of our
Yeah.
clients. Like the average reach is down 30% like over the past 2 years. And engagement is also like in the gutter. And
Yeah.
people don't understand like, and I think a big part of that is because the sheer volume of content that's out there.
Yes. And the other big one is, I'm sorry because I'm part of the problem, but Facebook and any social media platform is a pay to play platform. If you
Yeah.
want your content to be seen, you need to be putting money behind it. Now, I love imagine all the work you do, Heidi, for all your clients, and then it doesn't get to be seen because you cannot physically control the algorithm, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
you can't say to Facebook, hey, can you please show it to all my clients' followers? You can't unless you say to Facebook, hey, can you take this piece of content and let's run an ad behind it and then show it to my clients. So it can also, ads are also great in case you have a small budget and you just want to make sure that all that energy you're putting into an organic strategy, and what I mean by organic is like, creating posts or reels or things like that, your actual followers are seeing it. Because if not, then why are you wasting any time on that? Like, I don't know, you could be using that money somewhere else, that energy doing something else. I don't know, get on a podcast.
Because you kind of touched on this, and
Mm,
the whole difference. I really want you to go a little bit more into this because I feel like I recently had a conversation on a strategy call about boosting versus running an ad. And I didn't fully understand the difference. Tell me why, boosting is not a great strategy because I feel like that needs to be amplified.
I think so too. If you take nothing away from this call, please listen to this moment. Okay. Boosting is terrible because you have no real control over the targeting. So, what I mean by that is when you create ads using Ads Manager. So, this is where you can create Business Manager, and that's where you run all your ads from, Business Suite.
Mm-hmm.
And then in it, you have this place called Ads Manager. That's a section of Business Manager, right? That's where all your ads and all your campaigns get built. In there, you get so much detail, right? Like you can segment like by people who are interested in certain interests in demographics like age, sex, location. You can do lifestyle preferences, like are they parents? Are they married? Did they recently get engaged? Do they follow Amy Porterfield? Do they follow Tony Robbins? Like you can do things like that. When you boost something, right? One, it generally wants you to run ads within your area. So it's very location based. If you see the little bubble, it will be like, hey, with a 50-kilometer place of this. I don't know these people who live around me. They could be my ideal client, but they're probably not. I don't know these people. Like, unless you have a physical location and you need people to come to you, you shouldn't be dependent on something like that. The other thing that it does is that it kind of optimizes for what we spoke about first, which is brand awareness. And in that,
Mm-hmm.
it focuses on telling you things like, hey, we reached 1 million people, or hey, you have 1 million impressions, or people saw this so many times. There was a frequency of this. All of that, or we got so many clicks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. As my therapist would ask me, and then, what are you doing with that information? So it's very important, like I said earlier, to have a goal. If your goal is just to go viral, by all means, press the boost button, have fun with it, okay? But if your goal is to have a strategy that supports your business, right? That you're making sure that the money you are investing in ads is actually working for you, you need to go in and you need to set it up correctly. You need to choose your audiences effectively and build them out. You need to make sure that you're tracking effectively. Do you have a pixel installed? Do you have Conversion API? And Conversion API is this fancy thing that we had to implement after iOS came out and said, hey, we're not going to track all the phones. So now we have to track servers. All of these things will help optimize your campaign. And of course, the final step is, what are you doing beyond the campaign? Because you'll always get people who are, even out of just interest, be interested in it. But what is next?
Mm-hmm.
Are we driving them to an email list? Are we inviting them to an event? Are you offering more value? Are you taking them to book a call with you and start like a quick little audit or a little coffee chat call, like a no pressure sale kind of vibes? Where are they going
Mm-hmm.
to? If you don't have that in place, then you're really just taking spaghetti, throwing it at the wall, and hoping it's going to stick. That's what you're doing when you boost.
That's my biggest takeaway. No more boosting.
No more boosting.
So, as we kind of wrap up here, what are some of the biggest takeaways that someone listening, I mean, you've given so much information, like there are so many great takeaways, but what is kind of your last piece of advice to someone who wants to get started with ads, but they think that they have to spend too much money or they don't know how? Like, what's your advice to someone who's like ready to dip their toes into Facebook ads?
I want to say do it. I think investing in ads is investing in yourself. And the reason I say that is because you do not have control out of a lot of things. But by putting that $20, right? Let's use baby numbers. Let's say it's $10 you're going to invest in yourself daily. It's $300 a month. Perhaps that's a coffee that you don't drink. Perhaps that's like a new piece of software or clothing or something you don't buy in yourself. But you can find a way of making that work if you really wanted to, right? And what you're investing it in is you. You're not investing it in, like I said, a piece of clothing that you may or may not like. You're not investing it in a coffee that's not going to be here tomorrow. You're investing it in your business. You're investing it in the fact that you spent hours, like countless hours on Canva, creating that beautiful graphic, remembering that beautiful script, editing that tireless video that no one is going to see. I want people to see your content. I want people to find you. I want you to serve your purpose. And the way that they can do that is by showing up and being in an ad. I wish it didn't have to be this way. I wish we could go back to the days where you could just post and like 50,000 people liked your stuff. I love those days. Those were great. But I want people to get to know you. And the way that can happen is with a very small budget and being very intentional on how you spend it. So I want to challenge you to choose yourself and invest in yourself and run an ad for a month. Go do it. Tell me how it went. Tell Heidi how it went. And like, we'll be here. We got you.
I love it. How can people get in touch with you? Where can they follow you? Tell me how people can reach out.
Amazing. So if you found this inspiration, you're like, am I ready to run ads? I can help you answer that. So I created this really cool quiz. It's less than 2 minutes and it helps you get your Facebook ad readiness score. And what that is it will tell you if you should be running ads or if you need to go and do some more soul searching. So it's on my website. It's carolkabaale.com/quiz. I'm sure it'll be in the show notes. Go look in the doobity doops where all the things are. And take the quiz, have fun. It is really fun. And I will give you a hint. There's 4 options. So don't just think it's a yes or no thing. If you really want to, you can take it 4 times and tell me which ones you found more interesting.
I love it. I love it so much. Are you on social? Can people go follow you on social to kind of get more information from you? If they're like, hey, I'm not ready, but I wanna follow her. Where can they follow you?
I am on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, and all the places. My name is just Carol Kabaale.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. This was so great. I learned so much. I mean, I've played around in the Facebook ad space and I've done it for clients before, but this was just such a wealth of knowledge. Thank you so much, Carol. And to everyone listening, go forth, leave a review if you love this, if you found this helpful. If you're a new subscriber, thank you, and go forth and create amazing content that stops the scroll, and don't forget to plan your ads. Until next week.